Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Can you just typing something that I know that you actually can see me and hear me talking
Hello,
here?
hello. Can
Okay.
you guys hear?
Awesome. Thanks, Perry. Thanks a lot. Okay, thank you very much for coming to the webinar, which is like kind of the fourth webinar that I've been doing this year. Awesome. Yeah, can where are you guys watching from? Maybe I'll just kind of quickly switch to my slides. All right. Awesome. Yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in. And as I mentioned, I'm gonna show you a bunch of kind of demos and experiments about design system in FramerX. Like kind of like you know a disclaimer is that I'm gonna show you whole bunch of demos and showing the result that I've been doing like for the past few weeks. Probably not much time for tutorials like about how to do some specific things, but just feel free to ask me questions and just type your question in the comment and I'll try to get to your questions during the session, and maybe a little bit after the session. And if not in the webinar, I'm gonna try to answer all your questions in an email. All right. So so basically, the FramerX story about a design system. I think it's all centered. Oh, actually, sorry, I forgot to share my screen. Sorry about that. So it's you guys are actually just one one moment. Which one? All right. Yeah, it's good to notice that way before I do any demos. Otherwise, it will be super confusing. Okay, so yeah, back to this one, like the design system story in FrameX. I think it's centered around that team store, so that you and your team members will have a private store to share all kinds of stuff. Like basically you can share all kinds of stuff in the team store in this, which works the same, very similar to as the public store that we have seen in FramerX. And what's the next slide? So I'm trying to kind of organize my demos in like three type of a different three different types of workflows. The first workflow is like a no coding or almost no coding. Second is imported already codified design system. And third is creating a new code-based design system. So the next one is going to be like no coding. I think it's going to be pretty much similar to existing design tools, and it's good for those non-web based projects like iOS native or Android native or like Mac OS apps like that. Where you except that, like you probably can use React Native, but if you don't want to use React Native, and you can still use FrameX to design, but it's pretty much within the same capacity as the some of the existing design tool. And of course, this requires the shared styles support, I've been hearing many times from the team that they are coming soon. Let's cross our fingers and see when it's coming. It's coming. But before that, there is still something that that we can do to make it slightly more interesting. So this is my demo number 1. Where is this desktop? All right. So demo number 1 is like an icon library that I maybe do this. Actually not here. Icon library. All right. So all you see here, I'm gonna show you quickly, and like this is basically this is a icon component, right? And over here you can select from a list of icons. That is not super surprising, and you can switch icons, right? And also these ones. Let me delete this first. These ones are the like each of them is a design component that consists of like your icon, right? If you look at it closely, the name of these icons follow a convention. So if, for example, if I want to add a new icon, I can do so by add a graphic that's gonna basically work exactly the same as what we do in Firmx. And now I'm gonna turn it into a design component and then name it so that it follows this pretty much the same convention as in Sketch that you can do star, right? Icon slash or underscore start. Once I press return, if you kind of see it closely and you see there is a like new icon appear here. So this is basically a list of all the icons. I just put it for the demo so that you can easily see this. But like over here, you get to choose this icon, right? So that means you can have this icon component, and you can distribute it on the team store and share it with the rest of the team. And you like the other designers can still maintain those icons visually on the canvas. And there's some funny things like you can actually change the color of it as well. Yeah, so that's the like kind of icon library story, and we're gonna see this kind of pattern a little bit later in my demo. But just this is something that can be worked around, and the idea is that we're gonna follow this naming convention, and this component will be able to. This is a code component. If you look at over here, so this is a code component icon, and it imports everything from the canvas and just filter out filter the icon components based on their name. It's just some kind of like JavaScript trick, and it just like extended from this this idea a little bit. Have another demo, which is about the button states. All right, the button state. So over here, you see this is a code component. This is a button, and like if you look closely, the name of those components This one is button default. This is the hover. This is the press. So that means we can actually maintain, like we can actually edit its different states visually on the canvas. And this is a real button. If you click on it, you see the different states there. And let's say, what do you want? Like, I don't know. I'm running out of options. But anyway, we can actually visually edit the states and press state. So that works pretty much the same as the icon story. So we follow this naming convention, and in this code component, I basically render different design component depending on the state. So that's the other thing that we can do. So that until we have this shared style support, that's the kind of interesting thing that I've seen so far that we can do. Before I move on to the next one, this workflow number 2, do you guys have any questions? Let me see. Oh, there is the only question. Where is Linton? So I'm from Victoria, BC. So it's in the same time zone as San Francisco. It's close to Vancouver if you've been there, like a bigger city. Yes, I will share these demo files. I will definitely share the code, and I will write a kind of like if you've been to my previous workshop, webinar, I've been kind of writing the kind of summary recap emails after that, so it will include all the links to the stuff that I've been showing. So number 2 is about importing an existing codified design system. It is ideal for React-based projects because we can directly import those components. For non-React but web projects, and there are ways to wrap them in React, and there are ways to do that. And I think that's one of the core propositions of a Framework X is that you can use real code to design. All right, so demo number 2 or 3. Let's look at this one. RMWC, if you're not familiar, it's a wrapper React component library for the official material web component, like not web component, but material components. It's similar to there's another one called the Material UI, and this one is it's more or less like kind of more official because it's just a wrapper around the official code. So let me build something from scratch so that it'll be easier to see the benefits over here. So I've imported just a few of the components right here. For example, this this typography, just way too small. You can choose from different variants. You can choose the tag that you want to render. You can choose a color or a theme. Depending on, I think this is probably a bug, but yeah, you can choose from those things. And also, a button. There are different variants that we can choose from. One thing that I want to show you is this icon. If you look at the right side of the screen, icon. You can choose from non-material or icon star. Let's just choose material first. So in this case, we can type in a name of the icon. Share. That's the kind of standard icon from the material library. But what is this icon star? It's actually, yeah, if you guess it right, like it's actually a design component over here. Can I find it? Where is the icon star? Yeah, icon star, right? So it's a design component. Of course, you can edit this component from the canvas as well, and you will be able to use this icon in in this button, or you can use it or not, right? So that's yeah, that's the way. That's using the pretty much the same idea, based on the naming convention to extract the design components and put it into a code component that we imported from the material design library. And also, you'll see this the color of those components are right now like they're purple, right? It's controlled by code. Where, one second, I'm grabbing the code for you. I don't know what happened here. How come this becomes super small? So this is our MWC, and over here, in the code directory, there is a file called themes, right? So that's the file that I wanted to show you. Okay, that's big enough. So if I modify this, primary, make it orange, and after I save it, and it's supposed to kind of update all the themes over there to make it this is very easy to modify to understand, all this colors over here all in one file, so that you can customize the theme of all the components that you put on the canvas. And more importantly, this file is just JavaScript file. You will be able to use it in production. Definitely, like you can just put it in your code base, and you'll be able to use it. And so that you can keep those two set of assets, like you can keep the design and the production code the same. So while still being able to customize them when you are designing in Framer X. All right, so buttons and text are not so interesting, or are we? Let's do something that's slightly more interesting. So it's tabs. Of course, it comes with some predefined tabs, and these are just text, right? Texts are not so interesting, but notice that it has a children connector, right? Let's see what we can do here. Okay, add a tab here. Tab, maybe add a few more. And then if we connect to this, and we'll have all three tabs, right? And the important thing here is that for this tab, you can configure, you can customize configuration individually. Let's say if you want to add an icon, what icon we want to use? Favorite. we have an icon here, right? So that's how, basically make the tab over here a little bit more useful, so that you can customize it. You can do some further customization. And taking it further, you have a card, right? Of course, right now it's empty, and it's gonna be the same idea over here. So we draw a frame and put a what do we want there? Something called maybe card media, and we can add an image. Let's add this crappy image here. Now if we connect to this guy and ask us to choose from primary actions or actions, and it's called primary action in Material for some reason, but it's it's the top section of the car, and we can move this guy over here. Be smaller. Body. Okay. And let's add some more, right? Car action. So we want to add some stuff below to let the user to be able to actually do something with it. Add a button, connect to it, and it's going to be actions. Oops. Right, so that's a car. Notice like for the car or the tab, like no matter how you drag it inside the frame, it does not change the position, their position in the car. Same thing, this one in the tabs, like it does not really change it. So it just extract all the important stuff from this frame. I had some kind of hacky code to actually remove some of the things that firmware adds for this absolute positioning, so that it will kind of look like we are actually just putting some just for this tag directly into this car, instead of being wrapped around with some frame and stuff. Like there's some complexity here, but I won't talk about it too much here. So that's the car, right? Again, it's about making this component a bit more useful. You see, like on the store, I think there is a material design one, and this one, it has a car, but you cannot do much customization. So my point is that with this one, or we can keep adding stuff to make it even more useful, so that we can actually do some design with it. And of course, that's something I wanted to show you over here. For example, let me just grab this one, put it outside. So that's pretty much the same as we have I have just shown you. And then now the thing is like I have this card design, right? And now when it comes to the development, maybe I want to write a component for this one. Maybe we want to write a component called maybe hotel car, right? Let's just leave it there. And this is something that I wanted to show you over here, is that oops. Right. This guy, yeah, this is heavily inspired by this frame spy component, and actually use the same code over here. But I've changed it so that the code here is actually usable. So if I preview this guy and then make it bigger, and this is very closely, resembles the code that we're gonna use in development. And speaking of that, let's just use it, right? I just copied it to the clipboard, and back to over here. This is a hotel car. That right now it's just the template, and let's replace all the tags over here in the render method line 19, and it complains about missing imports. Let's just fix that. Add all missing imports. I think everything should be good. And then I think we have a hotel car. So that's kind of one thing that I get really excited about is you can really kind of build this stuff right within this tool, like when you're designing it, or either maybe another designer is designing it, and you can take, as a developer or another designer, you can actually take this code out and put it into a higher level component. I think, like, as it grows, and as if things grows, and we're gonna get higher and bigger component, and eventually it's going to be our app. Right. That's something. And of course, because everything here is based on real code, and we can really make it interactive. Let me just make it interactive by adding some code override tabs. And over here, this is actually a page. It's just standard page that you can find here, and it's linked to different things over here so that we can see the tabs working in action. And also, this is just a scroll. It's nothing special. Scroll and put it linked to a longer frame. And then for the tab, I add this code override tabs, and this page, I'm gonna add this page override as well. And if I preview, this is working, right? Yeah, this is working. And also we can add stuff like dialogues. For example, like if the user presses book button, we want to show a dialogue or something. We can do so by adding a dialogue component, and let's just connect to its content, just filling its content, and also the actions in the dialogue. And of course, we want to show this dialogue. We will need to connect it with using some code overrides. So if you look at the right side of the screen, and also for this book button, we can add a code override book button. Right now, I think it should work. Right? See, so those buttons actually work. And those dialog button works because it's over here, and I've already added the code overrides to it. So making a interactive prototype with the code that you import from an existing component library, and also you will I'm just trying to recap what I've just shown you is that you can put all the styles or like themes or design tokens in one file so that it will be super easy to tweak the themes. Right. So if we go back to the slide, yeah. So I've just actually there's another demo that I wanted to show you as well, which is that end design. Um, and design, right? And I've got a button. It's still installing. Takes a while. Get a button. And of course, can choose from choose different styles, and they'll have some slightly more, complex component. It's a calendar. The reason that I want to show you this ant design thing is that its theming system works differently than the one that we saw with that material design. Material design, there's a if I show you the code for the material design over here, there's a really convenient theme provider. So can use this theme provider to actually provide the theme to the code that we can see here. But this like end design is different. It uses less. Less is not supported by Framer at this point. So I had to do some kind of hack to make it work, which is let's see if it actually works here. We change this one to purple. And it's gonna take a while because of its like hacky nature. It kind of works, right? So we can customize this because like I'm basically parsing and loading the less stuff from the client instead of as part of the Webpack configuration. So that's end. Right, so that's the kind of end of the second demo. I've just shown you like we can import a codified design system or component library from public npm repository, and with like a very similar process, we can do it from internal repository as well. Like within your company, you have all your code if they're available in the internal npm repository. We'll be able to import it as just as easy, I think. And then there's the third one is a little bit different, and which it's the one that I'm still kind of experimenting with. Is that like what if we don't use what if we don't have this npm repository, and what if we want to just directly import the code from production? I've seen that there are some people actually working on it, and I'm gonna send you the link from one person, and they're actually doing it is basically building everything in your product as a kind of like single JavaScript file, so that you can consume from FramerX. So there's I don't have any demo for this one, but that might be an important use case as well. And I'm gonna show you later when I have something to show. Now the third kind of a workflow create. Actually, yeah, sorry. I keep jumping ahead, and let's just take a short break, and I'll start answering questions if you have anything. Let me just go through the questions. Okay. Demo files. What does the code look like after getting all the canvas items? I'm not sure about this question. To reload. Yeah, so export those components. I don't know, like, if there's, like, we can export the code there, but I don't think you should use those code in production. Like, if we export it from this Framer X, we export like here. I guess that's if that's the question. How do you import web components? Like, yeah, why a bounding block is much larger, and this is one of the unsolved problem. I think hopefully they'll change it soon. But this box cannot be customized. Like, you cannot control, like, you cannot dynamically control the size of this box. You can only give it a default size, but you cannot make it wrap around your component right here like this for now. Hopefully they'll change it soon later. New properties. All right, so I think that's a question so far. Yeah, thanks for answering those questions in the comments. And like, if you have more questions, keep typing them, and I'll try my best to answer. And if I miss anybody's questions, and just let me know and just type it again, and I'll try to get to it. And the third workflow is more like, you start from scratch, like you're building a new product, and at the same time, you probably want to kind of build a design system as well. So slightly different, like, different from the one that we see in the first workflow, where everything happens on the canvas. Like here, what I was trying is to still start with code. Always start with code, but we want to design with it. And I'll show you what I meant. And it's it's pretty much the same as the second the second workflow in some cases. And like over here, let's say learn React. So the idea here is that, like, I'm actually rebuilding and redesigning my website, Learn React Design, and it's long overdue for a redesign. And its current state is like it's totally my fault. It's it's like styles all over the place, and I didn't have a system in place when I was building that, and new stuff like being added into the site over time. And this time, like, I decided, maybe I should actually start with a system, so that we will have a consistent look and feel across the site. It's funny that for such a small site as my site, you can see those inconsistencies if you observe closely. So over here, I actually I'm using a open source library called Styled System to build, all the components right here. Actually, right now I only have a couple of components. let's again start from scratch. I've got a box here, which is, obviously just a box. And I've got a text here. So those are kind of central building block of everything that I'm about to use. So this experiment is still ongoing, and I can only show you some of those things that I've been doing. But hopefully you will find it interesting. For example, I've got a different theme file. Not here. Okay. Different theme file. And if you look at the different this theme file, it looks, it has more stuff than I showed you about this material design, which is mostly colors, I think. This is material design, and on below and on the top is the one that I'm doing with my site. It has spaces, like you can use those for paddings, margins, font sizes. It's a scale, and of course colors and shadows, right? And border radius and stuff like that. So the thing is, like over here for the box, you can choose, of course, the background color, and you can choose from, like, shadow, different kind of shadow, all defined in this theme file. Like if I modify this theme file, we're gonna get a new, for example, let me add a new hover, what is that, hover 2. Like we get a new option to choose from, right? But the idea is that it's all controlled by this single theme file, which is the format. I think it's is readable, and everybody can work within this file. And of course, border radius and stuff like that. And also with this file, or the other file, like even in material that I didn't show you, but over here, we can have something that's hopefully useful. We can basically just show all the colors over here, and it'll update when we update this file, right? Just quickly, maybe just remove the first one. If I save, this one should go away. This one should change to this color if I save the file. Yeah, so it updates. Same thing for typography. Like I think this can at least be useful as a documentation purpose. So those two things. And again, the list of fonts, the list of text styles coming from this guy over here. But yeah, but like my point is that, like, we have this file. Like the point is that we can customize it, however however you want. Like according to the requirement of your organization, and you definitely don't have to do it like in my way. When I was building this small site, and you can add as complex or as straightforward in the styles and structures inside this file. The idea is that you have the power of a code, and a lot of things just become super customizable, and you can do a lot of different things, and you can tailor it to your need. Let's start building something. So I've got a box. I think I have oops, the rest of the content. Okay, I've got something here. Again, this box, it has a children connector. So I want to connect it to this text. And this is just a frame. All right. And now I've got like 3 stuff inside. Maybe let's add an icon here as well. Let me just directly drag it from here. Add an icon. And choose the one React Native. Okay, that's the icon. So this frame is like the content of this box, and it's the same idea. Like if I drag things around, it's similar to the card example that I've just shown you in the material demo, and it does not change its position over here because it's using whatever the documentation, the document flow layout. And of course, you can choose. There are a few options for us to choose from. If you look at the right side of the screen, and this is going to be it's going to be the same as a frame, but we can do with Flexbox, right? We can align them vertically, center it, and probably put the space around like that. If we want to change the order of those things, we got to change it from here. Over here. Okay, that becomes the top. So I've been doing this just a very quick experiment. I'm not sure if it's actually useful. Maybe it is, maybe not. Maybe it's easier to just do it from code. But I think the point is that if you're not so keen to actually work in the code, you can still kind of get some of the benefit of those of the things. The standard layout options in web, right? You can even use a grid layout if you want, and and if we change the padding, you can add padding. And this number 123 is not a pixel number; is based on the space we specified over here. 0 is 0 pixels, 1 is 8 pixels, so on and so forth. Now I've got this content designed, and then we can use this view. And now we got the code, right? Let me copy the code. Actually, one more step that I forgot is that for all the icons over here, I will need to I'll need to get the code. So this is the code for the icon. And it's all automatically generated based on the design components available in this file, based on its naming convention, as I mentioned in the first demo. So it's icon / whatever. And I've got a few icons right here, so that, we've got code over here. So why don't we just copy to the clipboard? And of course, like if we add a new icon, it'll appear here. So over here, let's just write a class called icon. The icon component. If I save, we got all the SVG stuff here, right? And all right. Now let's go back to this this car. We want to make a course car, just like that hotel car. Copy the code and create a course card, and then pasting the code here. And again, there's going to be a lot of error because I haven't import them. And I need to fix up a little bit. Text in this box is icon. So we're using the code from this production directory, PROD production directory. The buttons, icons, and text over here. Like if I save the file, hopefully it'll work. I just tried briefly before the webinar. If it doesn't work, don't blame me. Yeah, okay. That is, yeah, that is something that I forgot. I need to pass in. I need to give it. Oops. Give it a theme, basically. So this FramerX wrapper just gives the theme to everything inside, and it should work, hopefully. Yeah. So again, this is a course car, and we can use it as a building block for bigger components. The one thing that I actually kind of did it wrong is that I'm supposed to put this course car component inside this production directory, so that I will have a production course car component to use in the actual production code. So the you may notice that like this process is not so different from the one that I've just shown you about material. I was making a hotel car, and out of from my tags over here, and I can make a hotel car. Here I'm just making a course car, which is not super difficult, not super different. So the point is that like they're definitely the kind of the same idea. Here is that you can start from scratch from very simple base set of components. Like I only have a box and an icon and and the text right here. We can start building bigger and bigger components. Just right after designing it, and we can create a new course car component right here. We can use it in design as well, and we can really kind of feel the kind of iterative design and coding process being blended together in this process. I think this is definitely just kind of a simple experiment. I think I'm starting to see the hope of it, and I'm really excited about this. And let me know if what do you think about this. I think that should be the end of all my demos. I have do I have a couple more slides? Yeah, 3 workflows no code and import or creating a new design system. And the last two are not really not so different. All right. Let me see if I have any questions here. Cool. So yeah, if you have any questions, just feel free to email me or send me on a Slack or whatever, like, you know how to reach me, or on Twitter, and I'll be happy to help you or just to share my experience. And also I would love to see your experiments as well. I've been meeting with a few other designers, and they're doing great work, and it was really impressive as well. I think we hope I hope that we can um, really solve this problem, this design and code and development collaboration problems, and as a community. um Finally, to thank you everybody to actually stick around with me for this long hour. And there's some like coupons, and thank you so much for coming to my webinar. And I'll see you next time.